The teasers dropped, the fandom went silent. I mean, in an instant, the entire K-pop world was turned upside down.
Oh, completely. The most anticipated return in music history wasn't just a rumor anymore. It was finally official.
Welcome to StarScope K-Report. Join Eric and Minji as they ride the Hallyu wave, uncovering the biggest K-pop comebacks, shocking industry controversies, and major K-drama updates.
Right. From internet-breaking rumors to historic chart milestones, we dive deep into the world of Korean entertainment.
And today, we are unpacking the reality behind the headline that literally broke the internet. You know the one. It's finally official. BTS 2026 comeback plans leaked. Everything changes.
It really does change everything. And we have a pretty robust stack of sources to parse through today for you.
Yeah, ranging from The Guardian and the Korea Times to music industry trades like Music Business Worldwide and Polestar.
Exactly. Our mission today is to map out this historic post-hiatus return and, really dissect the shocking fandom fractures that I don't think anybody saw coming.
No, definitely not. We're going to analyze the harsh reality of their massive March 2026 comeback. And if you are even slightly tuned into pop culture, you know the gravity of this moment.
You really do. I mean, the military hiatus is officially over.
Right. And for anyone stepping into this space for the first time, when we say hiatus in the context of South Korean boy groups, we are referring to the mandatory military service.
Which is required of all able-bodied South Korean men, right? It effectively pauses full group activities for years.
Exactly. And when we talk about the fandom, we are talking about ARMY, which is a global powerhouse of highly organized fans.
Oh, for sure. They possess the sheer capital to move actual financial markets. I mean, when these comeback plans initially leaked and then were confirmed by the agency, HYBE stock didn't just bump.
It rallied to a 3-year high, like 309,000 Korean won.
Which tells us exactly how Wall Street views this group. The agency wasn't just planning, a few nostalgic welcome back shows.
No, the leaked master plan revealed a sprawling 70-date 2026 to 2027 world tour.
70 dates. That is just...
It's insane. It kicks off in April 2026 in Goyang, South Korea, and then it transitions into this grueling global marathon.
Right, spanning Tokyo, the U.S., Mexico, Europe, South America, and wrapping up through Australia and Southeast Asia.
It's a staggering logistical undertaking, but, getting all 7 members back to the starting line of a tour like that wasn't just a sudden overnight thing.
No, not at all. It was a meticulously phased trickle back to civilian life.
Jin, the oldest, was discharged first in June 2024, followed by J-Hope in October of that year.
And the agency didn't just let them sit idle while waiting for the others, right? They launched these high-yield solo projects to bridge the gap.
Yeah, to keep the fandom engaged. We saw Jin executing these incredibly viral TikTok campaigns for his solo albums.
And Jimin released Face and Muse, proving his individual commercial viability. Then came the discharges for RM and V.
And finally, the Maknae line. The youngest members. Suga was the very last to complete his alternative service in June 2025.
So hitting pause on a phenomenon like this, it isn't like putting a vintage car in the garage for a few years and just throwing a tarp over it.
No, it's much more like shutting down a small country's central bank.
That's a great way to put it.
Right. You can't just flip the lights back on 3 years later and expect the currency to hold its exact value without any institutional friction.
Exactly. You have a meticulously planned 9-month rollout from June 2025 to March 2026, but expecting the machinery to turn back on without any rust just seems naive.
And as we're about to see, there was a lot of rust. A lot.
Oh, yeah. Before we even analyze the music or the global tour, we have to look at the severe turbulence on the road to this comeback.
Because the drama that unfolded right after their discharge almost changed everything. Initially, the optics were flawless, right?
They really were. In August 2025, right after Suga's discharge, we got an OT7 Weverse live stream.
And for those unfamiliar, OT7 means 1 through 7, representing the complete original lineup.
And Weverse is HYBE's proprietary fan community app. All 7 members were together in Los Angeles.
Right, RM looked directly at the camera and promised, "We're really working hard." It felt like a victory lap.
The fandom let out a collective sigh of relief. But how did the agency lose control of that triumphant narrative so quickly?
Because by the fall and winter of 2025, that optimism completely evaporated. It was replaced by this massive pileup of controversies.
Yeah, controversies that exposed some deep structural tensions within the K-pop ecosystem. And the shift happened because these controversies weren't about the art.
No, they were about the intense, honestly suffocating scrutiny of their personal lives and public visibility.
A prime example is the Love Your W 2025 Charity Gala in October.
Hmm.
RM, J-Hope, and V attended this breast cancer awareness event.
Which, on paper, is standard celebrity philanthropy, right? But the public backlash was instantaneous and severe.
Because critics and actual breast cancer patients felt the event's atmosphere was entirely inappropriate.
It was highly celebratory, very flashy, heavily saturated with corporate sponsor exposure.
Yeah, it clashed violently with the solemn reality of the disease. But the members themselves weren't the organizers.
Exactly. They just became the primary targets of public vitriol simply by being the most famous, highly photographed people in the room.
Their sheer visibility literally became a liability. It illustrates how every micro-movement is analyzed under an unforgiving microscope.
And that microscope turned into a magnifying glass under the sun by December when the dating rumors exploded.
Oh, the dating rumors. This is where we really see the absolute collision between a human being's private life and the parasocial economic contract of K-pop.
Parasocial contract is the perfect phrase for it. We had Jung and aespa's Winter facing intense speculation because eagle-eyed fans spotted what looked like matching tattoos.
And simultaneously, rumors surrounding Jimin and TV personality Song Dae-yoon resurfaced from 2022 because of a leaked elevator video.
Right. Neither agency initially confirmed the Jungkook rumors, but a vocal faction of fans felt fundamentally betrayed.
They didn't just feel heartbroken, they felt deceived, because the idols weren't actively hiding these overlapping fashion choices or tattoos.
And to understand why fans react with such hostility, you really have to look at the economy of the fandom.
Yeah, K-pop heavily monetizes the illusion of availability and intimacy. Fans buy multiple copies of the same physical album just to win a lottery ticket for a 2-minute video call with their favorite member.
Their bias, yeah. When you invest that much emotional and literal capital into an artist, a segment of the fandom begins to feel like they hold shareholder rights over that artist's private life.
Exactly. So when an idol dates, it isn't viewed as a personal milestone. To some, it literally feels like financial fraud.
Which completely explains the protest truck economy. We literally saw fans renting digital billboard trucks and parking them outside HYBE headquarters to block traffic.
Demanding explanations. Grown men in their 30s are triggering traffic jams because of matching tattoos.
It's wild. Big Hit Music ultimately had to issue a formal statement denying the Jimin and Song Dae-yoon relationship.
But the cumulative psychological weight of this constant surveillance was clearly taking a toll on them.
It absolutely was. It led to RM hosting a highly candid live broadcast on December 6th, where he made a truly staggering admission.
He confessed that he had considered disbanding the team tens of thousands of times.
Tens of thousands of times. When the leader of the most successful group in history admits to that level of fatigue, it really reveals the crushing cost of global superstardom.
It does. But to fully grasp why the fandom was already so hypersensitive and fractured by the winter of 2025, we have to rewind.
Right, to the inciting incident of this entire post-military era, the August 2024 DUI involving Suga.
This is undoubtedly the most complex and deeply divisive moment in their recent history.
In August 2024, Suga was found by police after falling off an electric scooter near his residence in Seoul.
His blood alcohol concentration was recorded at 0.227%, which is exceptionally high.
Well above the legal limit. Crucially, the vehicle was an electric scooter with a seating saddle, capable of reaching speeds up to 30 kilometers per hour.
And under South Korean law, operating this specific type of motorized vehicle while intoxicated carries the exact same severe administrative and criminal penalties as driving a car.
The fallout from this incident created a seismic cultural fracture. And we have to be clear here, we're not taking sides, we're just reporting on the cultural friction.
Exactly. We're just looking at the two very different ways this was perceived. To understand the domestic backlash, you have to look at the sociological context of South Korea.
It is a highly dense, rapidly modernized country where traffic fatalities have historically been a severe public safety crisis.
Consequently, drunk driving is not viewed as a mere lapse in judgment. It is treated culturally as a near unforgivable breach of public trust.
Right, often equated in the court of public opinion to premeditated violence. Domestic Korean netizens, or K-netz, express profound betrayal.
They felt Suga had permanently stained the group's pristine underdog narrative. We literally saw domestic fan factions sending physical funeral wreaths to the agency,
demanding his immediate removal from the group. The domestic expectation is that an idol must remain a flawless, moral exemplar on and off the stage.
But when you look at the international reaction, The paradigm completely flips.
It really does. International fans, spearheaded by 127 different fan organizations across 58 countries, released a coordinated joint statement fiercely defending him.
They pointed out that he made a grave error, but ultimately no one was injured, and they argued he was being subjected to a disproportionate public shaming.
International fans, particularly those in the West, are steeped in a different celebrity culture, right? Where personal mistakes, even legal ones, are often separated from the art.
More importantly, international fans are acutely aware of the fatal pressures of Korean celebrity culture.
Yeah, they frequently cited the tragic case of the late actor Lee Sung-kyun, who faced a crushing, highly publicized police investigation and public shaming before his death.
Western fans were terrified of history repeating itself. They were prioritizing the individual's mental survival over the collective moral standard.
It really forces us to examine the very definition of the word idol. Does the title inherently strip these artists of their humanity?
In Seoul, the media and the public use idols to set the societal moral standard. Internationally, they are viewed as musicians who are fallible humans.
You have to wonder, is this level of intense scrutiny uniquely tied to the K-pop industry, or is it just the inevitable, crushing cost of global superstardom?
The friction between these two worldviews is really the defining conflict of their 2026 comeback. And, if you love unpacking these complex industry dynamics, make sure you subscribe to StarScope K-Report.
Because the reality of how this cultural fracture physically manifested at their comeback concert is wild.
Oh, speaking of wild, wait until you hear what happened when they finally took the stage.
Yeah, the cultural fracture didn't just stay in Weaver's comment sections. It materialized in the physical world the moment they tried to bring everyone together.
Which brings us back to the paradox we started with, March 21st, 2026.
Yeah.
Gwanghwamun Square.
This was supposed to be the triumphant return. The optics were designed to be legendary. A free comeback concert in the historic heart of Seoul, live-streamed globally on Netflix.
South Korean President Lee Jae-myung openly championed the event as a demonstration of the sheer excellence of K-culture.
Right. The authorities prepared for 260,000 attendees. HYBE hired 4,800 private security personnel.
They treated the center of a major metropolis like a militarized event zone, mobilizing nearly 7,000 police officers.
They shut down subway stations, they detoured city buses, closed off entire corporate buildings. The stage was set for a historic, cinematic, cultural coronation.
And then a fraction of the crowd actually showed up.
The Seoul Metropolitan Government's real-time data later revealed that only about 40,000 to 48,000 people actually attended.
The discrepancy is mind-boggling. They prepared for 250,000 people and secured a fraction of that.
Local residents were furious. Taxpayers were left with an estimated 400 million won in police overtime for a phantom crowd.
I read that wedding parties were literally being transported in police buses because the security perimeter was locked down.
Yeah, for a crowd that never materialized. But the real casualty wasn't just civic pride, it was financial stability.
On the Monday following the show, HYBE's stock tanked by 15%.
15%, and we have to look at the causality there. Institutional investors on Wall Street and in Seoul do not care about the revenue of a free concert.
No, they care about the 70-day World Stadium tour that immediately follows it. When traders realized the domestic attendance was vastly lower than projected, panic set in.
Because if HYBE's domestic hype projections were off by 80%, investors suddenly wondered if the massive revenue projections for the entire 2026 global tour were built on a house of cards.
Exactly. It sparked aggressive online rumors that the agency had a historical habit of inflating concert attendance numbers just to manufacture hype.
The physical logistics were a nightmare, but what about the actual music?
Right, because transitioning from the physical concert to the musical release, they dropped their highly anticipated new album, Arirang.
And even the sonic identity of this record wasn't immune to intense debate.
For context, Arirang is arguably the most deeply traditional, iconic Korean folk title imaginable.
Yeah, it evokes a profound sense of national heritage, but the album itself heavily utilized English lyrics, leaning hard into Western pop sensibilities.
Which immediately ignited a massive critical debate about identity. What makes K-pop Korean enough?
Can you title an album Arirang while singing predominantly in English to appease the American radio market?
The critical reception was violently polarized. Pitchfork handed out a notoriously harsh 5.3 rating, dismissing the record as passionless.
But then major legacy outlets like Rolling Stone and The Guardian offered glowing praise, highlighting the group's evolution.
It perfectly encapsulates the tightrope they walk, trying to balance global pop dominance with traditional cultural roots.
But despite the chaotic street logistics, despite the 15% stock drop, and despite the fractured fandom and polarizing reviews,
The raw data silenced the critics. The statistics are undeniably triumphant.
Arirang achieved a historic all-kill in the streaming world.
And for anyone outside the K-pop bubble, an all-kill is basically the statistical holy grail.
It means the song simultaneously hits #1 on every single major South Korean real-time and daily music chart.
On top of that domestic dominance, it racked up 110 million streams globally in a single day.
Wait, 110 million streams in 24 hours?
Yeah, making it instantly the best-selling album of 2026 globally on its very first day of release.
That is just insane. It proves that even with the rust, the boycotts, and the logistical nightmares, the sheer velocity of this fandom is unmatched.
They can still brute force their way to the top of the global charts.
And as they gear up for this massive world tour, you're going to want to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a KT update from us.
Definitely. When we pull back and look at the macro trajectory of this group, we are left with a pretty profound realization.
They have successfully navigated the military hiatus. They broke global streaming records with Arirang.
Their upcoming tour will undoubtedly sell out stadiums worldwide, silencing all those financial doubters.
But they achieved all of this amidst deep domestic division, harsh critical scrutiny, and a fandom that proved it can and will fracture under moral and parasocial pressure.
So, as they enter this unprecedented post-military era,
Yeah.
what does the future of a mature post-military K-pop supergroup actually look like?
Can men in their 30s ever just be musicians making art? Allowed to make mistakes and live private lives?
Or will they forever be trapped as global ambassadors bearing the impossible weight of an entire culture's expectations?
It is the defining question of their new era, and how they answer it will likely rewrite the rules of the entire Korean entertainment industry.
Something for all of us to really think about.
You've been listening to StarScope K-Report, where Eric and Minji bring you the stories shaping K-pop, K-dramas, and the global Hallyu wave. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.